What's up, everybody? Cinephile Mike is here, and it is episode 4 of Oscar Rewind, Season 2, my bi-weekly series dropping every Tuesday and Friday, where I revisit films that reflect the work of this past year's Oscar nominees and winners. I love digging deep into those IMDb profiles, and my hope is that you will discover a new, older favorite, or maybe revisit something you haven't seen in a while. As always, I'll be discussing the Oscar connection, the awards history for the film, the box office information, the critical response, and as always, these reviews are spoiler free. Before we jump in, quick plug, please do me a favor, click that subscribe button. You definitely don't want to miss all the cinematic goodness that is coming here. And as we move forward with that, given that, the first few episodes, again, we're focused on producers. So this first month and a half or so of Rewind, we will be looking at the producers of this year's Best Picture nominees. I'm going to get through at least one producer on every film nominated this year. And today, I'm going to keep moving right along with Universal Pictures' live action adaptation of Josie and the Pussycats. This flick, released in the spring of 2001, was written and directed by Deborah Kaplan and Harry Elfont, based on the Archie comics characters created by Richard H. Goldwater, Dan DeCarlo, and John L. Goldwater. Now, during the film's theatrical run, the film made $14,271,015 domestically, with an additional $595,000 internationally, for a worldwide total of just under $15 million. Now, critically, the film is rotten on both sides with a 53% critical rating coming from 125 reviews and a 52% popcorn meter culled from over 50,000 ratings. Award season wise, the film had 5 nominations, not at the Oscars or other places, but in a few smaller venues. It had 2 nominations for its music: Best Music Sound Editing in a Musical Feature Film by the Motion Picture Sound Editors, and one for Best Original Song for Three Small Words at the Phoenix Film Critics Society Awards. Additionally, the film had 3 Teen Choice Award nominations: Choice Comedy Film, Choice Film Actress for Rachel Lee Cook, you can see her there in the middle of the poster, and Choice Breakout Film Performance for Rosario Dawson. Now, you may say breakthrough performance for Rosario Dawson. Yes, this was still in the earlier parts of her career. She hadn't quite fully made the name for herself. In fact, of the 3, Hook and Reed were a little bit of bigger names at the time, but, Dawson has blown up since. So, how does it connect to this year's Oscar nominations? Well, it's the producer. Mark Platt, the famed sole nominated producer for this year's film Wicked, cut his teeth on this musical film before he became the powerhouse film and stage producer that he is now. He was the sole producer, at least credited, for Wicked, so when the film was nominated for Best Picture, he was the only one of the 10 that had the sole producer credit. And he started producing 23 years ago with this little gem. Josie and the Pussycats follows the trio that's actually named The Pussycats, which consists of lead singer and guitarist Josie McCoy, played by Rachel Lee Cook, bassist Valerie Brown, played by Rosario Dawson, and drummer Melody Valentine, played by Tara Reid. Now, these 3 have dreams to be the next big rock stars. And, sadly, when a tragedy strikes a popular boy band named Du Jour, they realize that life is short, so they need to go out there and make things happen. And before you can say, do it now, they will meet Mega Records producer Wyatt Frame, played by Alan Cumming, who will whisk them off to make all of their dreams come true under the watchful eye of the Mega Records CEO Fiona, no last name, played by I have to say it, the always enjoyable Parker Posey. Can never get enough of her. Now, as the Pussycats head off to the big city, accompanied by Josie's longtime crush, Alan M., played by Gabriel Mann, their manager, Alexander Cabot III, played by Paolo Costanza, and his sister, Alexandra, played by Missy Pyle, they will arrive and their world will quickly be thrown up into a whirlwind. Now, our trio, after receiving a makeover and getting ready to take the world by storm, see a massive billboard where they have now been renamed Josie and the Pussycats, putting Josie front and center, which sort of starts to cause a little bit of disruption. And they try not to think about it too much, but then before they know it, within a week, their single goes to number one, and they learn that they are playing their first big stadium concert. What caused all of this to happen so fast? Is there some sinister or dark going on behind the scenes? Is the music really that great? I mean, we really only had the radio airwaves at the time and MTV and VH1. Remember when they actually played music videos? And slowly but surely, as we head towards concert, weird signs begin to come up and other bizarre circumstances occur, and we'll see that members of this band start to change in their behaviors. And behind the scenes, we learn that some people who presented themselves one way might not be as upfront as they claim to be. And why is the government poking around? Do they have something to do with Josie and the Pussycats being an overnight sensation? Huh. So for those who have seen this movie, you probably, if you remember it well, you know that I probably just left a lot out of that synopsis, but it's with good reason. Because it could be very easy to spoil this film because while this film has an interesting message, I mean, it is very surface level. It is a lot of fun, but it was also incredibly ahead of its time. The film is a fascinating look at the power of celebrity and the persuasion of media. We didn't have social media at the time of this film. It was 2001. We didn't have Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and all these things that were, you know, ads and a lot of time on the internet with, different advertisements pushing things in our faces. And, this film explored the idea of subliminal messaging, how it could be used to coerce different things and get you to maybe lean a certain way, be it in a little bit more of a light and comical sense. But, if you think about how we are exposed to things now, this film's almost a little scary. It almost was prophesizing where we were going to be. And I have to say, financing this film must have been pretty easy given the number of products and companies that are both featured, and this idea also kind of serves the plot. You can almost make a game out of it every time you see a logo or a brand that you're familiar with, from McDonald's to Target to Steve Madden to Nike to Puma to Coke to Pepsi. Uh, 20 years ago when the film came out, it was kind of maligned as a joke about consumerism and just a large ad, with the performances sprinkled in, but it really does more than that. I believe if this film was released now, it would actually probably have much more of a cultural impact. Now, about the film itself, I have to say the cast is all on point. The performances are all larger than life and almost farcical, but they lean into the style. We're not looking for naturalism here. Look, Dawson and Reed as the Pussycats, their chemistry is excellent. You're rooting for them. Every hug, every argument, every moment is truly felt. This probably comes from the music training. They all had to do training together to get ready to perform this film. And the supporting players are all memorable. The comic timing, I mean, Nachak, Posey is on point. Cumming and Pyle, Alan Cumming, Missy Pyle are comedic geniuses. So the three of them have moments to shine that are going to make you laugh out loud. My only issue with the plot, and I understand why they had to incorporate it, um, and again, we bring it from the comic books. They even make a lot of meta jokes about some of the things that happened in Archie books. We have to include the romance between Alan M. and Josie, and while Man and Cook have a nice chemistry, I could have dealt without that subplot. I mean, they kind of wrap it up a little quickly, and it doesn't take away from the central one, but the central plot they do with the idea of the media and consumerism is a lot more fascinating. So, the film is about 95 minutes, with a great gag reel in the midst of the credits, which makes it fun to watch. I have to say, Kaplan, Elfont, worth mentioning, they have a fun knack for quick-witted writing that's full of double entendres. They did some of this in Can't Hardly Wait, Surviving Christmas, a film they wrote. So, they also have a way with words that makes their pieces entertaining, and they also bring back performers in different spots. The band du jour that pops up, they only have a few scenes here, but they're all made up of Elfont and Kaplan alum from Can Hardly Wait. This boy band is made up of Seth Green, Breckenmeyer, Donald Faison, and Alex Martin. Definitely some laughs coming out of there. Look, in some ways, this film is a guilty pleasure cult classic for me. I know it was critically maligned, but I'm going to say, again, ahead of its time, Josie and the Pussycats is actually a fun 4-star film. It's a really good, funny film with great performances, great messages, there's morals, and also a cautionary tale. We have to remain true to ourselves and listen to what we want and not be controlled, despite what Mr. Movie Phone says. There's a throwback. Um, and separate. I don't often talk about this when I do the reviews, but the soundtrack for this film is full of great earworms. Unfortunately, I think because the film did not do as well, the soundtrack didn't really catch on. But the whole thing produced by Babyface with Cook, Dawson, and Reed providing backing vocals. Cook does not sing lead vocals as Josie. Those were actually recorded by Letter to Cleo's lead singer Kay Hanley, with our trio providing the backing vocals. But the songs are a lot of fun. They're definitely worth listening to, even if you just want to listen to the soundtrack. And if you would like to catch Josie and the Pussycats, it is now, as of this recording and posting, streaming on Peacock. All right. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Oscar Rewind. If you did, please click that subscribe button, like and share the video, spread the word. As always, you can follow me, Cinephile Mike, on all social media platforms and on Letterboxd, and find lots of great content on my website, cinephilemike.com. All right, everyone. Happy watching, and until next time, this is Cinephile Mike saying take a break and watch something new.